Hi everyone, welcome to A Nightbird. I'm Claire, and today I thought I'd film in the kitchen here. This is the room I'm most happy with at the moment. You know, I told you last month that we've been working really hard trying to renovate the place, and this room was, when we first got here, it was painted a kind of a very citrus yellow, which had become dirty over, I mean, it looked like it was done maybe 10 years ago, and hadn't been cleaned or anything since then. And we also had to remove, you know, a big sort of bar table thing that was too big for the kitchen, really. So it's really coming along nicely. It's not finished yet. I won't show you the kitchen units. We're in the middle of doing those. And as I told you last month, we're going to take off each door, sand it down and paint it, because it's so expensive to buy a new kitchen. And it's actually then that way you can make it your own. And I'm really pleased with the way it's looking. So we finished Luca's room. I had a lot of things that I'd made for him, which I was very sad to take down in the old flat, like some bunting I made for him when he was a baby, that was hanging on the wall, and it was so nice to be able to put that up again in his new room, and we're just really starting to feel much more at home. I've also changed a few things in his room, so it's not exactly a replica of his old room. I've made a kind of hot air balloon out of the light, out of the lamp in the central lamp. So I bought a kind of red bulb type lamp, and then I've hung a little basket on there, and inside we can change it, you know, sometimes putting different teddies in there or something. It's quite small, so we can use finger puppets and things like that. All of these things I really want to show you, and I've just been so busy and often forgetting to take pictures because I'm kind of really into what I'm doing, and it teaches me a lot about how I work, and this really relates to my knitting as well, decorating a house, because I'm quite all over the place with it. I'll start in one room and then I'll find something and I have to go into another room, and then I'll start hanging a picture in that room when I haven't finished what I was doing in the other room. And I've noticed this before with the way I clean. But it's really become a thing, you know, since I've moved in here. And so I'd say that every room is there's a little bit done on each room, but no room is completely done. And I guess that's okay. That's just the way it will develop. Maybe if I worked for certain companies, I would be a terrible employee with that kind of mind pattern, you know, but it works fine for me here, although it can be frustrating sometimes. And I think it's the same with my knitting, but actually knitting helps me to learn that skill. I think I tend then to make myself focus on one project, and that's been really good this month with the cardigan knit along, because I've really been able to focus on knitting that cardigan and getting it finished and not starting anything else. But I'll show you that later. Yeah, it's not actually quite September yet for me while I'm filming this. We're the weekend before. Yeah, September is going to be Luca's birthday. He'll be 3. Which, wow, it's gone so quickly. I'm unsure as to what I'll do for his birthday. I mean, we've moved out here to Berlin, and I'm not sure if I can really make him a party here, considering all his friends are in Berlin. It's an hour away. So I think we'll just do a family thing here in the garden. Although I will say this is a great place for having a children's birthday party, and I'm sure in years to come, when we've got to know some of the people from the village, that we'll do that. And this, I think, with being 3, I don't think it's that important yet to have a big party. I mean, definitely this will be the first time that he realizes it's his birthday. He's actually, for the last 6 months or so, he's been asking me when his birthday is and if he can have a birthday too, because he's noticed that other people are having birthdays, and or he sees it on his some programs that he watches, that birthdays can sometimes be a theme, and I think he'll really be excited this time, so I'm looking forward to that. My mom and dad will come from England, and they'll be here for his birthday, but it will also be their first visit to this house, and so I'm really excited to have them coming over, and also trying, kind of rushing, trying to get things done just so that it's not too treacherous here for them. It's I think we've come to the stage now where it's safe to walk around here. I mean, in the beginning, it was really there were a lot of things out, and we had to be careful with Luca, and some things were getting knocked down, and so we've sort of reached the stage where things are kind of in order, but of course not finished. And I'm looking forward to seeing Mum, because I think I told you before that Mum started knitting recently, and last time I saw her was really the first time that we really knit together, and I kind of showed her she can remember something from when she was a child. I think she knit a little bit, but she's never really been a knitter, but she's become curious, especially since I've been doing this video podcast. And although her eyesight is not very good, and she's always thought that maybe she couldn't do it because you need super eyesight for it, which to some extent is true, but I think that there are certain projects that she can manage just fine. The thing is, without my supervision, I'm a little concerned as to, she's been telling me on the phone what she's been doing, and she's been going to her local yarn store, and she's been explaining to me this sweater that she's been making for Luca. It just sounds so complicated, that it's all knit in pieces, and I don't think that a circular needle was ever suggested, which I think would have been better for her. And she paid for the pattern as well, and then she found that the pieces were difficult to put together, and then there was picking up stitching at the top to put ribbing on, and she's a bit put off by this sweater that she's been knitting. And I'm also a little bit sad that she chose such a pattern, one that was so difficult. So I'm hoping to get her back on track when she comes over, if she shows me what it is that she's done. And I've tried to explain to her as well that there are some patterns that are just not as well designed, or perhaps they're for more advanced knitters. And I don't know what the lady in the shop was thinking, and I don't want to question her professionality. I just I'm not really sure whether she chose the right pattern for my mum. So hopefully we'll be able to do something about that when she's here, and maybe I can even show you, because I think she will be. They're coming at the end of the month, and they'll still be here next time. So if I film it before they leave, then maybe I can show you what she's been working on as well. She might even leave it with me, actually, if we get it finished, because it is for Luca. So yeah, there's lots of exciting things happening this month. Last month I was feeling a little bit. I wasn't quite myself. I was a bit. I think everyone's like that after a move. That that you're unsure and you don't feel like you have a home. And it's a very slow process to really feel like this is where you belong. But I'm certainly a lot further than I was last month. I've also met not very many people that live around here. I have to say it's not that easy to contact people. But I had a meeting, a sort of chance meeting with a mother in the park a couple of weeks ago, and she has a son who's the same age as Luca, so we've done a couple of things together. She also told me that there's an American, I think one partner is American from a family. She doesn't really know them very well, but I'm kind of interested. I mean, not that I don't want to contact German people, but if there is a native English speaker around, but somehow that's nice, and it would be nice to contact these people. Also, there's a Swedish family and a Dutch family, I think. Anyway, she was telling me that that they live around here, and that there are things organised for children to do. So maybe we can go along to some events together, and perhaps I'll meet some of these people there, or even some German people too. But I find also it's nice when you meet someone. They don't have to be English, but they're also not from here, and I found that definitely in Berlin. I had quite a circle of friends who also were not from Berlin, and it's just nice because you can relate to each other and you're there for each other. But at the same time, I also think it's important to integrate yourself with the people who are actually from here. So this lady is from around here, and she's very nice, and the boys are the same age, so they can play together. So that's really been a bonus this month. I've also been getting, as the house has been developing, I've been looking out at the garden, which is over here. That's why I'm staring out. And I told you last month that I've never done any gardening, and I'm also just really unsure as to what's possible and how, I don't even know where to start. But I'm feeling really excited about it now for some reason. At first I was a bit daunted. Now I'm thinking I want a vegetable garden. I want to grow organic vegetables for the family. I want berries and cherry trees and apple trees. I think that's okay. I start off getting excited, and then we'll see what's realistic after that. And I definitely don't know anything about it, so I've actually been sort of trying to educate myself about what's possible. We have a woodland garden here, so I'm sure there are hundreds of things that are not possible. There's a lot of trees, which probably means a lot of roots in the ground. There's little sun. But we're thinking about cutting down some trees, which is sad. I don't like to be someone who comes along here and says, okay, let's get rid of these trees that have been there for hundreds of years. On the other hand, I'm unsure as to whether or not the garden will really work with so many trees in it. And also I think it's healthier for the trees next door, because they're quite clustered. That they can grow. So I see it a bit more like pruning a rose bush, that if you cut away some of the trees, and the other ones will grow healthier. So let's see. It's really the wrong time of year to start on the garden, although maybe some gardeners will disagree with that, but certainly it isn't going to take shape until next year, and we have a lot left to do on the house as well. So but it's just something nice to keep in mind. So yes, all of these things I've been doing, thinking about. You'd think maybe I didn't have any time for knitting this month, but I certainly am not at my peak with knitting. But I did knit a fair amount this month, and I'll show you that next. So I'm really starting to get very excited about knitting again. I kind of have these peaks and dips, and maybe it's just because the weather it's starting to turn a little autumnal already. Perhaps that's it, I don't know, but maybe also because I haven't really been able to get to my sewing stuff. It's all still kind of packed away, and although my crafting corner is taking shape, it's still not really accessible, and I need more storage, and it just isn't, we've had a lot of other things to do, and there are so many things I want to sew as well. So I'm just excited about any kind of crafting at the moment. And I've had a lot of thoughts about things I want to knit. Now, I can't allow myself at the moment because I've got too many things that I've started and not finished, and I'm just going to have to be very hard on myself and say, no, you are not allowed to cast on anything else until you finish these projects. So yeah, that's how I'm feeling. And so I've got very few projects that I'm actually working on. I've got only two things I want to show you. I just realised as well that I left my Bonnie project at my mother-in-law's house because I was working. We went to visit her, and I was working on it there. But I can still show you the yarn that I'm using. This Faroche from Nature's Luxury, and so obviously as I've got a whole skein left, I'm not even halfway through yet, but it's coming along nicely. It's just plain stockinette until we get to the collar, which is nice because it's a good thing to just be able to do while you're talking to people and so on. That's why it's at my mother-in-law's house, because I speak German to her and sometimes I need to concentrate. Then there's this, which I haven't really done anything on, but saying as it's going to be Luca's birthday, I think I'm going to wrap this up for his birthday. It was never intended as a birthday present for him because I thought I would probably get it done before then, but he hasn't really needed it, and it's been so hot, and now only the last week or so it started to really, the summer seems like it's gone. I don't know if that's it now or whether or not there'll be a comeback, but really we've been getting a lot of winds. It's been very cloudy, and he started needing to wear jumpers, so that will be nice to wrap this up. I'm sure he doesn't remember me knitting it, yeah, I'm not really sure what else we're getting for him. It's another thing I've had to review is all his toys and with the packing and so on, and does he really need all of these toys? But then there are some things which I think are really good for children to have, and he doesn't have a kitchen, and I'm not sure if that's a good present to give him, but sometimes I feel like, if Hendrik is still at work and I'm cooking, he's kind of over, like standing on a chair and playing with water, which I used to do with him. And he wants to cook as well, which is fine, but some of the things he wants to do, he doesn't accept it anymore if I give him something silly to do while I do the real things. He really wants to like stir the soup, and it's a bit dangerous, so it can sometimes turn a bit ugly. So I thought maybe if I got him a little kitchen, that he could stand in the corner with his little kitchen while I cook. So that's one of the things I thought about getting him for his birthday, and maybe this being the only handmade thing for him this year, because there's so many things we're doing at the moment, it's just not really possible. Yeah, but I'm still really happy with it, and I definitely think that the colours will be nice for autumn. They'll suit him really well. And it's the right size as well. I started off with it way too big, which is always a good idea. So I think, that will be perfect. Those are the only two things that I'm working on really, that apart from my cardigan, which I'm going to show you because it's all to do with the knit along and so on. So I'll show you that next. Before I hold this up, bear in mind that you're seeing this in September and I'm filming it before the end of September, so I still think that I will reach the deadline, but it isn't finished. Perhaps by now you've already seen a finished picture of it posted in the finished pictures. It's very nearly finished, so I did the button bands first because this is all the yarn that I have left, and I wanted to know exactly how much I had for the sleeves, so then I can make them the right length, the same length. So this sleeve is nearly finished because I don't have enough to make full sleeves, but I never intended on making full sleeves anyway. So I'm just actually going to do, I think, 6 more rows now of this, and then I'm going to start the ribbing, and then we start on the next sleeve. I've tried it on as best I can, while it's still on the needles, and it looks great. I'm so happy with it. I can't wait until it's finished, until I can actually wear it. I think it's probably one of the things that I'm most happy with that I've knit. And the yarn is just such a beautiful colour. I absolutely love it. And I love the pattern. I've loved every moment of it. It's really been a fun knit, and that is what I needed this month, because I didn't want to spend any time solving problems with knitting. I had too much else to do, so it's really been just a lovely thing to knit, and I feel like I want to cast on another one straight away in another colour, and but I'm not allowed to do that, as I said before. So yeah, that should be, I've got how many days now? 4 days to finish this. That should be doable, and to block it as well. I just have no doubt that I will reach the deadline. I've also seen that other people are doing really well. There are a lot of people who've finished already, and there's a lot of people who are still working on theirs, and I imagine as well that they will kind of reach there just in time for the deadline, I hope, because the prizes are so amazing, and I just absolutely love tin can knits, especially after knitting that cardigan. And I think, yeah, so the first prize, again, I announced last month, will be like an ebook pattern book of your choice. They've got a few. This one, the one, just so that you know, the one that I've got is handmade in the UK, and that's where my cardigan comes from. And then the second prize and third prize are a pattern of your choice. Obviously I can't announce the winners today because we haven't finished, but I will announce those on my blog, so I'm looking forward to that. Yes, and then there's the next craft along, which I'm thrilled to see that a lot of people are interested in. I really hope that a lot of you join in. I know that it's not as popular as a knitting challenge at the moment, but definitely, as it's knitting related, that you get a project bag out of it. I think that works quite well, and I'm looking forward to it, especially because I've chosen one of the fabrics. So here, how cute is that? This is there's a fabric shop which I love to go to in Berlin. It's called Friedrichshain. So now every time I go into Berlin, I have to go there. And they have a scraps bin. So some of their fabrics are quite expensive, but they have a scraps bin, and they have scraps of this size, all for €1. So this is all I got of this fabric, because I want to put it with maybe 2 other fabrics. I mean, there's lots of colours in here that will work. I don't have 2 other fabrics to go with it yet. But either I have some in my stash. Now this would be a good excuse to sort out my stash and actually put things away, or I have to go and raid the scrap bin again. But either way, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm just super pleased with this. I love it. I'm even thinking, I might actually buy, a couple of meters of it or something to make something like maybe some bedding, or yeah, I don't know. First of all, I'll make the project bag and see what I think. But I really love the colours, and I love that there are cats in it. It's really cute. So I will put up a thread for that as soon as September arrives. I will also announce the winners of the cardigan knit along. And now I want to tell you about what we're doing for October. And this is like really down to the fact that I have been going through my stash, and I have one skein of many things. I've got some beautiful yarns, just one skein, and I'm always thinking about what I should knit with these skeins of yarn. And I mean, I've even gone as far as to really properly plan it, and I've spent hours actually over some of them, and then not actually cast anything on. So there's several of these that I have. So I'm not actually sure which skein of yarn I'm going to use yet, but the October challenge is one skein of yarn. So to knit whatever you want using only one skein of yarn. I'm sure that's doable in 1 month. So I'll put up a thread as well to see who's interested. And yeah, I will now show you, well, I have a giveaway actually next. And then I also want to show you what other things that I've been working on. So in Norfolk, which is a very beautiful part of England, on the coast, it's quite a flat part of England. There are a lot of fishing villages and farms and so on. It's really lovely. I often see Norfolk when I'm flying home. The plane kind of takes if you've got really clear skies, and it's really a very lovely part of England to look down on. And I always think, that because I haven't been there for such a long time, and if we ever did a road trip going across there, maybe if we took the boat over, I would really like to go to Norfolk again. It's somewhere that I went as a child, and I know that it's really a kind of landscape that I would really love. And as an adult, I think you see things with different eyes. But I remember that there were seals on the beach. I think it's quite, they have their summers. I mean, England is not exactly the warmest place anyway. But I think Norfolk can be quite windy, and it's not particularly a sunny place, but very beautiful, and really, the living there, I think, is more natural, and a lot of, like I said, farmers and fishermen and so on, and that's where I got this yarn from. Is a lady, her name's Julie. She lives in Norfolk, and she's an artist, so she likes to paint the landscape, and she's got some beautiful things around her to inspire her. And she loves knitting as well, so she kind of put her two passions together, and decided to use these sort of watercolors for painting yarn as well. And she calls her yarn company Watercolors and Lace. And she was very kind to send me 2 skeins of her yarn in really, really lovely colors. I'll show them to you now. So these are the 2 skeins that she sent to me. I don't know if you can see the colors that well. I hope so, because they're really lovely. And one of them I'm going to keep and knit something, and the other one I'll give away to one of you guys to win. It was really difficult for me to decide which one I wanted to keep. On the one hand, I tend to go for greens and sort of bluey greens. I think it suits me, for one thing. And also I'm just attracted to that colour. So naturally this one spoke to me. This is lamb's wool and cashmere, and there are really subtle changes in it. I hope you can see real greens and blues. And this one is more of a powdery blue, sort of teamed with more pinks and purples, which is also really lovely. And I thought maybe I should, go for a change and keep this one. But in the end I decided no, I'm going to go for what I usually go for in this case. And I think this is really the way that the colours change, and I think it's really me. So I'm going to keep this one. The other one is 100% wool, full ply, and also really lovely. Especially I can imagine this on a blonde, or even, it also, I don't think that it doesn't go with my complexion, but I just think the other one is better with my complexion. Anyway, so I will put up a thread for that, and one of you guys can win that. So thank you very much to Julie for that. Maybe even we can use these skeins for our 1 skein knit along. I don't know yet, we'll have to see. And of course, if you win this, you don't have to use it for the competition, but on the thread I will put up the question, what would you like to make with it? Okay, so I'll move on now to what else I've been doing. So crafting wise, I've been doing a lot, and it's difficult to show a lot of it because it's all kind of home related, and I know I promised pictures, and I really will put up some pictures as soon as I get myself organized. But I think I can kind of give you an impression of some of the things that I've done. In Berlin there's a market, a Turkish market, which I often go to buy fresh produce. They really have like Mediterranean vegetables and olives and things like that, really nice. But they also do things like they do fabrics there, and also I found a stall which does little door handles. Now here in the house there were many sort of cupboards and so on, which, yeah, if I had all the money in the world, I would just rip them out. But it's nice to see if you can get creative and actually make something which may not appear beautiful. Just see if you can make the best out of it. So I found on this stall these little knobs, and they're in many different colours. I can't show you all of them because I've actually put them on the cupboards already. But in the bathroom, it made a huge difference to just take off this kind of beaten down old plastic knobs and just replace them with these in different colours. And it kind of just brought the bathroom to life. And so sometimes just little changes like that can really make a big difference. I also don't really like, around my crafting table, there are a lot of lamps which are they're just glass lamps. And I'm planning on covering them with fabric somehow and lace. This is something that my great-grandmother, who was very good at crochet, I never met her, but some of the things that she passed down to my mother, one of them was like a crocheted lamp cover, and it was just and it came down into beads, so it was a lampshade, and that looked really, really nice. And I'm not sure if I can really do that kind of intricate crochet, especially not now. I mean, I think that I want to come up with something maybe a little simpler, but I'm inspired by that kind of look. So I've been trying out different things with that, seeing if I can cover it with fabric and then maybe cover it with some kind of lace. I also found an old chair here, which was there was nothing special about it at all. It was a wicker. It had a wicker seat which had holes in it, and it was just white, and you could see the screws in it and so on. So, but we don't really have that many chairs, and especially when we have guests round, it would be nice to have an extra chair. So, I've painted it in a turquoise, and then my next step will be to make a padded cover for the seat. And I think I can use this broken wicker that's there to actually sew and kind of quilt it at the same time, and stick it to the chair. That one I have taken a picture of. I took a picture of it before, and then I'll also take a picture of it after, so you can see what it looked like before and after when I finished it. I also, I really want, I told you before, I don't like to buy bedding anymore. I just think it's so easy to make, and I want to make our own bedding, because that way you've got way more choice of what kind of fabrics you can use and so on. And with Luca's room being finished, I chose some fabrics for him from that shop that I told you about, where I got the material with the cats and the flowers. So this will be his pillow. It's also a little autumnal, maybe because of the change of weather, but and then this so they sort of go together. That will be the I'll turn it up the right way. That will be the duvet cover, and this will be the pillowcase, which I think will look cute. And yeah, as he gets older, he can choose other fabrics and so on. But that's, I think, he really liked it, because I like as well that he can describe what is in here. There are lots of different characters, different animals and so on that he can describe. What else have I been doing? I mean, mainly just painting things and covering them up. There's also a shelf in Luca's bedroom, which it was a bookshelf, and it was a perfectly good functioning bookshelf, but just the ugliest bookshelf you can possibly imagine. It was made of chipboard, and I think to decorate, they tried to make it sort of a bit more cheerful, so it was decorated with a plastic square which was turned on its side, and that was at the back. But it just had there was no design behind. There was no real sort of flair for design behind it. So instead of throwing it away, I thought I would just paint it. So we sanded it and then painted it. And then, because there were bolts showing at the bottom, I used this paper to cover up the bottom of the shelf, because it's actually quite high up, and so you can see the underneath of the shelf. And then varnished it, and then I also cut out one of the spacemen and put it on the this sort of square shape that was turned around the other way, and it looks much better. I'm actually quite pleased with it. So yeah, I'm just really enjoying home design at the moment. It's there's so many ideas, and I actually prefer that, we're on a budget and we have to make do with what we got, and I'm challenged to come up with ideas, and it's just really fun, and it's great as well because Hendrik and I are kind of doing something together. It's like a new hobby that we can do together, and he is good at the things that I'm maybe not as good at. For example, he loves, when we're painting something, he loves sticking the tape on the edges and so on, like going around the room and making sure that there's tape stuck around the edges so that we don't get it on the ceiling, which I hate doing. So it's really working quite well. And we're just enjoying making this place something special and something really just truly us. So I'm just enjoying the development process, and although sometimes I feel I want to see what it's going to look like in the end, I think it will always be a work in progress, and it will just be a joy each weekend when he's home, like to do a few more things on the house, and we'll just see how long it takes until we've really got this place up and running. So I want to tell you, there are other things I've been doing, so I will have an enjoyment section after this to tell you what things I've been reading and watching and so on. Now, sometimes I can be like the last to hear about something. I can honestly get into my own little world and not really know what's going on, and I was thrilled to find out this month, only a couple of weeks ago, that Cast On podcast is actually got 3 episodes that I haven't even seen, because Brenda Dane stopped doing it a year ago for personal reasons, and I was really wondering if she would ever pick it up again, and thinking maybe she doesn't feel like it anymore, and it's really my favorite podcast. I just love how she combines, talking about her life, and she kind of philosophizes and makes you think, as well as talking about her knitting, and she really relates it, and I feel like I understand exactly a lot of the things that she says. It's like I can really feel like, that's how I feel about knitting and about life, and she also loves to read, and so I'm quite inspired by her. It's really the only, although I make a podcast, I don't watch that many podcasts, and that's one. It's an audio podcast, and it works very well as an audio podcast. I wouldn't wish her to make videos. I can use my imagination. She's very good at describing things, and so I was super thrilled to find out that there are 3 episodes that I hadn't even heard, and I rationed them out. So I had some. I generally tend to knit when Luca is napping. So on each nap session, I had an episode each of the 3 that she's done since then, and hopefully she'll do more. I think she's doing them kind of when she feels like it at the moment, which is really, fair enough. Like she's got her life there, and I think it's kind of a nice surprise when she puts out something. So I'm not expecting it, but then when it's there, it's really nice. Yeah, so that's been keeping me going this month. And the book that I've been reading, I'm afraid, I don't know, for some reason I'm not reading at the moment, and it's not that I don't like that book. I'm actually really enjoying it, but I just haven't had a chance to read, and I just don't feel like it at the moment. So I'm just taking a break from reading. And as far as watching is concerned, I actually surprised myself very much this month by watching Gardener's World, which is like, I can't tell you, when I was a teenager, if anyone told me that I would ever watch Gardener's World, I would just be horrified. I just used to think it's only for old people, it's boring. Like, how can anyone want to watch Gardener's World? People just talking about like what flowers to plant and so on, and like interviewing people about their gardens. All I can say is that, sometimes when you're young, you don't really know like the real beauty of things, and I get it now. And now that I have my own garden, and it came to me while I was thinking more about, how am I going to plan my garden, and I kind of Googled some things, and then one of them was came up with a YouTube video, Gardener's World, and I was thinking, I remember that, like from just from thinking whenever I turned the TV on when I was a teenager, oh God, Gardener's World is on, I'm not watching this. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to watch it. And I am like, I've kind of been binge watching it now. And they also did, it's kind of a spin-off of Gardener's World, which it was called the Great British Garden Revival. So they took things that were essentially British, gardens that were essentially British, and concepts of gardening which were very British, like the herbaceous border, the green lawn, the kitchen garden, and so on and so on. And they kind of did a special on each one, and it was just great to watch. And I still haven't finished watching all of them, and there are many episodes of Gardener's World, and I've learned a lot about flowers and plants, and there are just things that it's like a whole new world being opened up to me. I can't tell you how excited I am about that. And definitely this cottage garden, this English cottage garden, although I am in Germany now, really appeals to me. I love wildflowers. As we have a woodland here, I would like to, I'd like to have little snowdrops appearing after the frost, and bluebells, and lily of the valley then later on, and I want to know how I can make that possible. And then around the actual patio, the people who've lived here before, they tend to be, they're quite fans of big bushes, so there are elm trees, which I'm also a bit concerned about because they're poisonous, and I'm just thinking maybe I can get rid of all of that and like make some wildflower meadow or something like that. We'll see, but I'm really enjoying watching it, and it's helping me to learn like what I can do with my own garden. And also another thing is that Hendrik always says that we only watch English dramas and or English speaking dramas, so we tend to watch American drama series or English ones, and why don't we watch a German one? And so I did some research, and I tried to find out what's the best German TV series that's been on. And it's actually a thing that the Germans are not very good with coming up with like real series dramas, like that have been very popular in recent years. And they tend to be stuck in this sort of detective drama and soap opera world, which I have definitely noticed. Like whenever I turn on the television, I never feel like really that there's anything new out there. It's all very cliched and very old. However, in 2011, there was a series that was which actually won some awards called Weissensee, and it's about East Germany and the Stasi and a romance surrounding this, and that they're not allowed to be together. But it's not just about the romance; it's also about the way that the police dealt with people, and very good acting in it, and very interesting. And so Hendrik was really pleased that I found that out, and we decided to start watching it. We're only 4 episodes in, but it's unfortunately only two. There's only 2 parts to the series. There's only 12 episodes, but it's nice, and it's good for my German as well. And I have to say that, because Hendrik often says to me, what were they just talking about? I mean, although I speak German and he speaks English, but there's a special way to understand when people are really talking like in their own laid-back way. And if you're not a native speaker, you can often really miss out. And there were definitely things where now it was my turn to say to him, can we just go back? I didn't understand what they were talking about. So it's nice. It helps us to understand each other, and it's good for my German. So unfortunately, it is only in German. They don't tend to dub things. I think the other way around. And I'm not even sure if you can get it with subtitles. But for those of you who do speak German, I would recommend it. So I think I'll round everything up then for today. I'm looking forward to next month, hopefully maybe to show you some things that my mum has made as well, or maybe even if she feels like it, then she can also be part of the podcast next month. So we'll just have to see. But have a great month, and enjoy the project bags, and I'll speak to you then in October. Bye.